Hey everybody, so in this video we're going to be going over how to create our color scheme mandalas after we've already created our color scheme in Adobe Color. What that means is if you have not created a color scheme yet, please go back to the last video and make a color scheme because you are not supposed to be doing this project without one. So for all of my Angel students that do follow directions, let's get started. Very first thing that we're going to be doing in Photoshop is we're going to be going to our brush tool. This is going to be really the first time that we're using our brush tool in Photoshop. The first, but not the last. You can also press B on your keyboard to get the brush tool as well. Alright, so first things first, whenever you're using the brush tool, you're going to go up to the circle with the number under it, and this is where you change a few things. First of all, the size of your brush. So right now you might see that my brush is just a tiny little circle. I can make it bigger, I can make it huge, or I can make it super, super tiny. So that is how you change the size. There's also a hardness feature. So right now if I draw, you'll see that it's kind of a very solid line. But if I go into the hardness, then I can make it kind of like a softer line, which you might not see the difference very much right now, but if I make it bigger, you can see it's almost more of like a spray paint or graffiti type of thing. And last but not least, you can also change the different brush presets. For example, this is kind of like a pressure size brush, which you don't see the difference right now, but if you're using a tablet, which I will be offering to you guys for this video, you will see the difference, and it all depends on your pen pressure when you're using that tablet. So that's all things to keep in mind, but for the purposes of this video, I'm just going to stick with the hard round. Another really cool quick tip is if you ever want to just kind of like quickly change your brush size, you should go down to the brackets on your keyboard, and it makes it really easy to bring down the size or bring up the size of your brush without having to go up into that little menu, which can get kind of annoying. Alright, so moving on to the actual mandala making. Making a mandala on Photoshop is so easy ever since they added this new feature. It's called the symmetry option, and you can go up when you have your brush tool selected. It looks like a little butterfly, and you click it, and there's actually a mandala option right there, but there's all these other options too, and you can see there's these little previews on the side. So this might be something that you want to look at in the future, but for now, let's stick with the mandala. You can even pick how many segments you want. For this, I'm going to say, let's do 8. Cool. So now you're going to see there's this line that comes up. Now, I just want to be clear, this is kind of like an invisible guide. You do want to make it a little bit bigger though so that it fits the entire canvas. It starts off a little bit on the smaller side, so just bring up the size of that. Of course, always make sure that you're holding down Option Shift so that it stays proportionate. And then you always have to click that little check mark or enter on your keyboard to confirm the transformation. Okay, so now here comes the fun part and the super easy part. All you do is you draw. And you can see already what's happening. Every time you draw, it adds that brush stroke into the other 7 segments. And it doesn't matter which segment you put it in either. Now, as you're going through this, you want to keep your color scheme that you made open so that you can kind of flip through the different colors that you have or haven't used yet. And this is how you're going to keep your color scheme very consistent. Now, you might be wondering, do I have to draw with all lines, or can I maybe use the paint bucket tool to fill? And the answer to that question is yes. However, the symmetry tool only works when you're using the brush tool. So if I go down to my paint bucket tool over here, and I click fill, you'll notice that it's going to fill the entire thing. But that's because I'm right in the middle. If I go up to one of these, you'll see that you actually have to go into each individual segment to fill it up. So, like I said, the symmetry tool only works when you're in the brush tool, but it does stay there. So if you kind of travel between tools here and there while you're making your mandala, you don't have to worry because that symmetry tool will be there when you come back. Alright, so that's pretty much it for the mandala. It's pretty simple once you get started. So get in there and have fun making some beautiful symmetrical art.